What would you do if you found yourself lost in one of the most dangerous places on Earth? No phone. No rescue. No clear way out. Only endless jungle. In May of 2023, a routine flight took off over the vast Colombian Amazon rainforest. On board was a family, including her siblings, 13-year-old Leslie, her 9-year-old sister Soleni, 5-year-old Noriel, and the baby of the family, Kristen, just 11 months old. It was a trip they had likely made before. A small plane cutting across the immense green landscape below, but this flight would be different. Somewhere high above that unending canopy of trees, the journey took a terrifying turn. The single engine of the Cessna 206 began to falter. The familiar drone sputtered, becoming erratic. In this small cabin, a quiet unease would have grown into palpable fear. The pilot fought for control, but the jungle below was pulling them in. Then, silence, a deafening, final silence as the engine gave out completely. The aircraft dropped from the sky, vanishing without a trace into the dense, unforgiving wilderness. When the first rescue teams finally located the wreckage days later, the scene they discovered was devastating. The nose of the plane was buried in the forest floor, a testament to the violent impact. The 3 adults on board, including the children's mother, had not survived. The grief was immense, but it was overshadowed by a shocking, baffling mystery. The children were gone. Their seats were empty. There were no bodies, no signs of what happened to them, just a haunting absence. For children, one of them, just a baby, had vanished into the Amazon. Even the most highly trained survival experts can struggle to last more than a few days here. How could for children possibly stand a chance? Immediately, one of the largest search operations in Colombia's history was launched. They called it Operation Hope. Helicopters with thermal imaging cameras scanned the canopy from above, their rotors beating against the thick, humid air on the ground. Elite soldiers hacked their way through the dense undergrowth, their eyes peeled for any sign of life. Indigenous trackers, masters of this environment who know its secrets and rhythms, joined the mission, their ancestral knowledge a vital tool in the desperate search. Days turned into a week turned into 2, with every passing day. The hope that had fueled the operation began to fade. The jungle is an expert at swallowing things whole, at erasing any evidence of passage. The chances of finding the children alive were dwindling too. Almost nothing. The world watched, holding its breath, fearing the worst. And then, just as despair began to set in, the search teams found something unbelievable. Footprints. Small, human footprints pressed into the mud. Then more clues started to emerge from the dense foliage. A baby's bottle discarded. The remains of partially eaten wild fruit. A sign that someone knew what was safe to eat. And then the most incredible discovery of all, a small, makeshift shelter, crudely constructed from branches and leaves. Against all odds, the children were alive. They were moving, they were surviving. Survival in the Amazon isn't about luck, it's about knowledge. And as the search teams pieced together the children's trail, they realized this was not a story of random chance. The eldest sister, Leslie, a member of the Hutoto indigenous community, had been taught from a young age how to live in the jungle. It was part of her heritage, knowledge passed down through generations. She knew which fruits provided sustenance and which were poisonous. She knew how to find sources of clean water. Most importantly, she knew how to protect her younger siblings. Somewhere in that vast, indifferent wilderness, a 13-year-old girl had become a leader, a guardian, and a survivor, shouldering a responsibility almost too immense to comprehend. Imagine their ordeal. They battled relentless hunger. Knowing at their stomachs day and night, they fought off exhaustion. Forcing themselves to keep moving, they endured torrential rainstorms, huddling together for warmth under flimsy shelters. And they faced the constant, crushing weight of fear, especially in the dark of the jungle night, filled with unseen sounds. Their greatest worry was for baby Kristen. How could an infant survive even a few days in such a harsh environment, let alone weeks? Yet somehow she did. Meanwhile, the rescuers were fighting their own battle against the jungle. Heavy rains washed away tracks almost as soon as they were found. The dense canopy made spotting anything from the air nearly impossible. The search dogs, so crucial in these missions, struggled to pick up a scent in the overwhelming humidity and rain. Still, they refused to give up. They broadcast recordings of the children's grandmother, her voice echoing through the trees in their native language, pleading for them to stay put. 3 weeks? 4 weeks. The 1 month mark passed. 5 weeks. The world was gripped by this incredible story of resilience. On the 40th day of the search, a team of trackers moved cautiously through a remote section of the jungle. They were listening, watching, straining for any sign. And then they heard it, a faint whimper. They froze, and then they saw it dot movement. Small, frail shapes huddled between the trees. They had found them. They were alive, all 4 siblings. Weak, emaciated, covered in insect bites, but alive, and they were still together. After 40 days and 40 nights, lost in one of the most hostile environments on the planet, they had survived. When they were airlifted to safety, the doctors were stunned, the rescuers were speechless. The world watched in utter disbelief as the impossible story reached its miraculous conclusion. How did they do it? It was a combination of things: the resilience of the human spirit, the courage of children facing the unthinkable, and the ancient knowledge of the jungle, carried by a 13-year-old girl who refused to let her family perish. This wasn't just a story of survival. It was a miracle of the Amazon, a testament to the unbreakable bond of family and the quiet strength of a young hero. If this story amazed you, inspired you, or simply left you speechless, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel, because sometimes the most unbelievable stories are the ones that are real. Thanks for watching.